Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. Coming up on today's show, anybody tried to run up on nephew Ronnie this weekend? The Braves were ready.
And they got their first dub at the Benz. The Falcons are 1-0, but do you have some concerns you want to talk about?
And last but not least, and for the culture, that boy Quavo is headed home. We'll talk about all that next right here on ATL Day Ones. This
is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
I want to start by saying thank you for making ATL Day Ones your first listen of the day. Remember, we are free and available wherever you download your podcast. And wherever you download your podcast, make sure that you leave us a 5-star review. Really appreciate that from you in advance. ATL Day Ones is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon today to get started. Also, I want to let you know that ATL Day Ones is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Coming up in 8 minutes. What are you concerned about? The Falcons got to win. We'll talk about all that. But first, T, when I saw it go down, Oviedo had threw that pitch, threw it a little bit inside, not a little bit, a lot of bit inside. We know that a lot of teams like to come in on Ronnie, and they've been doing it more and more lately, seemingly. But the thing that I liked about it, T, we talked about on this show time and time again, was the fact that the Braves stood up, they came out, the benches cleared, no fight, no hands were thrown, anything like that. But I just love to see that, hey, you guys aren't going to touch our superstar like that. And I'm finally glad that they are treating him as such from within the organization.
Same. I mean, we don't advocate violence, but you know what? Sometimes you should choose violence, or at least the appearance of violence, because I think the Braves just need to let everybody know they're not going to be pushed around. And sometimes it's not just about what you do on the field, right? Meaning at the plate, on the mound, in the infield or outfield. Sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes when they come for you, you have to let them know, but I didn't send for you. And I really, really think the Braves sent the message by clearing the benches and saying, oh, no. We have your back, Ronald Acuna Jr. I know it probably sounds a little bit petty, and maybe it is, but I appreciate that, because also Ronald Acuna Jr. didn't back down. Okay, Oviedo, you got words? I got words too. And so I don't mind even that Brian Snitker was ejected because he went in on the umpire. Because again, sometimes you just get to the point in place where you're like, okay, I'm not about to have this. I'm not about to have these questionable strike zones. I'm not about to have these calls that should be overturned, not overturned. So I like it. It just shows a little bravado. And sometimes you just need to show you got that dog in you.
Yeah, and I think it's perfect timing because, like you said, we're coming down to the end of the season. You know that, hey, the Braves they clinched the playoff spot, the only team in the major leagues to be able to do so. And I think it's time to start fine tuning, and I think that's part of it too. Like I'm sure after the game or after Ronald Acuna got home and kind of started thinking about or processing what happened. I think for him to see his teammates come out there and say, you know what, we got your back, man. And for his manager to say, you know what, I don't care if I get ejected. I got your back. We got your back. And we are moving forward with you as our leader of this team. And for them to step up like they did, I really feel like this is something that I feel like can be like a beginning of something that can really kind of catapult them into that World Series, not only to get there, but to win this bad boy as a whole team.
And just real quick, before we move on to some really cool news, you said one word that I just wanted to co-sign on, and that's leader. And so people, laughed about the meme that was created as Ronald Acuna Jr. was rounding the bases from his grand slam. And, Freddie Freeman was kind of just standing there. But to me, it represented the past and the future passing you by. And here we are about a week or so later, and his team is stepping up for him. So I think you're right, Jarvis. You're on point with that leader piece, because they're showing that, hey, we're behind you 100%. But yeah, my mind went back to that. Just that moment where here's the past and here's the future, right? And right around you.
Oh man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I really like that because like here we are, like talking about Ronald Acuna Jr., the guy who people didn't want him have his hat wearing a certain way and all that stuff. For him to be right now, be stepping into that leadership role, and people are taking on his identity of how he plays the game. I absolutely love it. Speaking of taking on the identity of this team was their pitching staff coming into the season. We all know all the injuries and everything they dealt with. Max Fried is back. He's been doing his thing. He had a couple hiccups here and there, but there's a possibility that we might see Cal Wright in this upcoming series against the Philadelphia Phillies. Like, come on now, please don't tell me this is everything coming together towards the end of the season so we can go on this World Series run.
Oh, I like it a lot. I don't even care that they optioned Alan Winans, who had a really great game Sunday, went 6 in the third innings, and that was a really fantastic go for him. But, optioned him back to AAA this morning, officially announced it. And Jackson Stevens, they've contracted or brought up. Now, Jackson Stevens is in Philly, but guess who else is in Philly? Kyle Wright. So excited because when you look at the series starting pitchers, you just mentioned it, Charlie Morton for the day game, because it's a doubleheader from a game they had to make up. And then Max Fried for game 3 tomorrow. And then Spencer Strider for game 4 had to be pushed back because he's not feeling well. And then they've got Bryce Elder to start the next series, game 1. Game 2 still open. And Snit said last night, Kyle's a possibility. Jackson Stevens is a possibility. I think it just really depends on the chess match he wants to play. But again, like you said, these are little pieces that are coming into play. Even getting 6 in the third innings from Alan Winans that were quality so that you could have just one more arm to put yourself in position for exactly who you wanted to have start in Philly.
Yeah, I like this is the perfect storm for the Atlanta Braves, for them at this time of the year to be bringing a guy like Kyle Wright back in. It's almost like a trade acquisition, right? It's like, oh yeah, we're bringing back a 20-game winner, from last year. Yes, this is absolutely great. So yeah, Brave fans, get excited because we might be onto something when it comes to Atlanta Braves in October. But before we get out here, team, gotta mention this. Andruw Jones got his number retired over the weekend. So number 25 is going up with 11 other people that are just absolutely amazing, have done so many great things for this organization. But Andruw Jones gets his number retired. But let me ask you this, T, with the organization, but does this help make his case for him to be a Hall of Famer in the Major League Hall of Fame?
I wish that on some level it did on 10. I'll tell you, I think it does on 7 out of 10. Because Chipper Jones' speech, oh my goodness, Chipper Jones' speech was absolutely amazing, saying, no question he should be in the Hall. And I thought, man, I wish it was like a Pro Football Hall of Fame, because once you're in, I think you get a vote. But definitely you have a say, like in being able to influence the Hall of Fame voters for football. Not so much for baseball. It is the Baseball Writers of America Association, and that is it. But he had a jump in 20. His last jump was his last percentage was 41.4%. He jumped to 58.1%. So that's normally those guys may jump 2%, 6%, or what have you. But when you start talking about an almost 17% jump, that's what gets me encouraged that, hey, they're starting to see like, okay, there might be something there. So yeah, excited that he was able to be acknowledged by the Braves, because yes, every little bit counts to be able to make the baseball writers say, maybe we should look again.
Yeah, and I think that when you think about where the Braves are and where Andruw Jones is in his post career, like to have your number retired is a big deal about a Major League Baseball team. And I think that people starting to look at his numbers now and just like, okay, he had 434 home runs. He averaged 34 home runs and 103 RBIs for a 10-year period. He won 10 consecutive Gold Gloves, which means that he was the best center fielder in the game for 10 straight years. So yeah, that says a lot. I think, and of course, then you add into the defensive statistics that, there are people are taking into consideration now. Like, I think, like, I'm almost like Chipper Jones right now. Like, he's going to get in, whether it be he has a couple of years left on the ballot, and then of course you can do the veterans just like Fred McGriff.
Yeah.
like Fred McGriff got in. So I think that, yeah, like he's going to be in there, and I can't wait because to have this many people in the Hall of Fame from that era of the Braves is just absolutely ridiculous.
Right. And another positive in Andrew's favor is Dale Murphy is the only Brave that is in, I think, the Braves Hall of Fame, but not the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Right,
so
yeah.
that also bodes well for him.
Yes, it's just absolutely great. So yeah. I want to let you know that this episode of ATL Day Ones is brought to you by FanDuel because it is the #1 sports book in America. Guess what? The NFL season, it is going up this year. Like, because hey, week 1 just passed. I know, you made some couple of bets here and there, but guess what? If you are a new customer, FanDuel has the exact package that you need to have, right? All you got to do is drop $5. You're going to get up to $200 in bonus bets. Yes, $200 in bonus bets that you can go towards betting on anything from the money line, the over-unders, the player props, all that stuff. I'm telling you, y'all, you don't have to worry about this app because it's safe, secure, it's super easy to use. You don't have to worry about anybody getting all your information. And plus, when that bet clears, you're going to get your money instantly. So you don't have to worry about going down the street to go knocking on somebody's door to try to get your money. Or, hey, man, send me this cash up. You don't got to worry about that. FanDuel got you covered. So here's what I want you to do. Go to FanDuel.com/locked-on. FanDuel.com/locked-on. LOCKEDON. Excuse me. And drop that $5 in there. You're going to get $200 in bonus bets that you can bet on, that you can use to bet on anything. So go to FanDuel.com/locked-on because it is the #1 sportsbook in America and it is the official sportsbook betting partner of the NFL.
And I don't know if you guys bet on the Falcons to end all kinds of droughts, right, Jarvis? I mean, They ended a drought of not winning the home opener at the Benz. And remember, emphasis on the Benz, the new home for the Falcons. They that to me was like mind blowing. Like, never won a home opener while they've been in the Benz? Hadn't gone over 500 since January 13th of 2018. I mean, they really, really, so it was a significant win, right? It was a significant win. And you were in the building on behalf of our ATL Day Ones and Locked On at Sports Atlanta team. And first of all, just tell us a little bit about how that environment was, because I hear that it was one of the more ruckus and rowdy environments in recent memory.
So you know what? Like walking up to the stadium, like because I normally get there around about between 11 and 11:15. Try to get there like 2 hours before kickoff, and the lines were out the wazoo. Like the lines were literally, you know how the overpass, coming from our station, like the lines were literally back there, going up the ramp as you come off that overpass if you're walking. So yeah, it was just a sight to see a lot of the Falcons fans out there. And then as I was riding on the little trolley, going to the stadium, I was hearing some of the employees of the stadium talking about, I don't see any Falcons. I mean, I don't see any Panthers fans out here tailgating. And one of the guys was so funny. His response was, he was like, "Don't nobody give a crap about no Panthers doggone tailgating here in Atlanta at our crib," So
Right.
it was just really cool to kind of see, like, it felt a little different,
Yes.
just seeing everybody out there and seeing all the black and red. And then, coming into the stadium just to see how the excitement was there. And people are really, really excited about this team. But just from the game standpoint, T, I really feel like my big takeaway from this one is the coaching. I think the coaching aspect of from speaking offensively, if Arthur Smith just being able to adjust, because I felt like during that game, he started to get a little cute, and of course you want to use the toy and Bijan Robinson and all that stuff, but just remember, like once that offense started popping, who they gave the rock to? Number 25. Tyler Allgeier. Tyler Allgeier popped off a couple of those runs. You start to see the offense start clicking a little bit. And then, obviously with Bijan being able to get in the end zone, it's apparent like what this dude is going to be able to do this year. But when you have a guy like Tyler Allgeier to complement him as well, I think that it's going to keep teams from keying in on Bijan whenever he's in the game. And I think Arthur Smith was able to take advantage of that once they were kind of subbing in and out and making those necessary adjustments. But so, yeah, I think definitely a big shout out to Arthur Smith just from being able to make those adjustments necessary in order to get that offense going.
Indeed. And we're going to talk more and deep dive into the defense tomorrow, but I'll just make this point to make the point about the offense. And that is when you have takeaways. I mean, that's been a point of emphasis for the coaching staff as well, that we need to flip the field with takeaways. The fact that the offense, now I made that point to say the fact that the offense kept getting a short field to work with, that's how you can get an 11-yard touchdown from Bijan Robinson, because you're in the low red zone, right? Same thing with Tyler Allgeier, a 3-yard run, a 4-yard run. Why? Because you had a short field to work with, and then you can punch it in with that guy, right? So it was really exciting, and also good to see the versatility of utilizing Bijan Robinson, where we've seen him line up that way all through training camp and even earlier in the offseason OTAs. But then you look at Tyler Allgeier, and everybody wondered, well, what are they going to do with him? How are they going to use him? Exactly how they used him. They're going to use him as the bruising running back that he was, period. Point blank, the end. And granted, that might change a little bit when Cordero Patterson officially comes back, but I have a sneaking suspicion, and that's one of my kind of negative takeaways, because I want to hear from you about your offensive concerns or negative takeaways too, Jarvis. But for me, that could be a big deal. And I would agree with you on one thing I liked was how they used Michael Pruitt, because we know that I would just say the whole right side of the O-line was on the struggle bus yesterday. I'm not going to even just say there was Caleb McGarry, although it was mostly Caleb McGarry, but not just Caleb McGarry, but it was really the whole right side was on the struggle bus, and utilizing Michael Pruitt to help to block Brian Burns. We heard his name far less in the second half than we did in the first half. So I do like some of the, as you mentioned, just mild or modest tweaks that helped to eventually break that game open in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I thought it was kind of funny when I asked Arthur Smith about that after the game. He was just like, it's coaching, like it's just the NFL, like you have a plan coming in to do certain things, but like he didn't use this analogy, but I'll go ahead and use it myself. Like, but when you get punched in the mouth, like, and you didn't expect to get punched in the mouth like that, you have to make those adjustments and say, you know what, okay. All right, that's a nice little lick. Now I got to figure out how to get my lick back. So I think that Derrick Brown and Brian Burns, like we talked about Mr. Brown, like we understood, but Brian Burns is like, he is playing for a contract. That man is hungry. He's trying to get paid. He said, I need $25, $27, $28 million annually. I need to get up there. So I think that we saw that, and he was able to take advantage of one of the Falcons' best offensive lineman in Chris Lindstrom. Derrick Brown was able to get the best of him. So that was the shocker, right? So to be able to see them make those necessary adjustments, sometimes you don't want to. And the offense may have looked like Marcus Mariota offense last year, but hey, it is what it is. You're trying to get the dub, and like you said, the defense put you in a situation to be able to score and take advantage of those turnovers. I commend Arthur Smith. I commend him. Like, hey, man, I understand what you want to do, but at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do to get that dub.
Yeah, because you got 17 points off turnover. So like you said, whatever it takes. And one more positive before we do our quick concerns, and then we'll probably wrap up after that, because, hey, there's so much more to dig into. It's like we want to save the defense for tomorrow so we can dig in a little bit more. But I really did like what I saw from Kyle Pitts. It may have just been that one catch, but it was so exciting to see him do things that you knew he could do, right? But you wondered if he could do it again. We saw it in his first season. Unfortunately, he didn't have the right QB in his second season. So here we are in the third season, and he had to go back for that ball yesterday, and he did it. So I just wanted to kind of shout out the exciting part about Kyle Pitts, but I'll flip it and say that's also where my concern lies, because I was looking for Drake London. I was looking for Scotty Miller. I was looking for Mac Hollins and wondering, And I do know Desmond Ridder had a limited number of passing attempts, so you just couldn't get to everybody. But I did wonder, Jarvis, was that more the Panthers secondary bringing great coverage, or was it more the wide receiver core has not gelled with Dez quite yet?
I would probably say it was more what Carolina was doing. And not necessarily in the secondary, but just like we talked about. We're talking about Derrick Brown and Brian Burns. Like, there was only so much you could do because they were coming. They were putting pressure. They saw some leaking, a chink in the armor, when it comes to that offensive line. And Andruw Jones, excuse me. Sorry if I butchered your name. Sorry, sir. But yeah, he called a good game, because like the Falcons, they had to make a big adjustment, you know what I'm saying, in order to be able to capitalize on what they were able to do. And when you think about, like going in to different games with a different game plan, like you said, you have to make those necessary adjustments. And I think that, of course, we want to see him be able to get the ball to Mac Hollins, Scotty Miller, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London, and all that stuff. Of course, yeah, we would love to see that. Like, that's how we know that this offense is going to be clicking. But I'll go back to what we talked about before this game. Desmond Ridder's going to get off to a slow start because that's just when you don't have live ball snaps, when you don't have that situation where, hey, I know that somebody's going to put me on the ground if I don't get rid of this ball. Like, we saw him hesitate. We saw him, stepping up into the rush and not necessarily having a good feel for it to be able to get out of the way and so he can make a throw downfield. We saw it later on in the game, but early on, he looked like he was kind of lost. So, I even joked with Aaron on the Falcons postcast that, hey, that first half was preseason. You know what I'm saying? Those are preseason reps. And then second half, they started to figure that thing out. So, yeah, I really feel like, this is a game that take it with a grain of salt. You got the dub, but just know that this offense is going to be a work in progress. And be thankful that your defense was able to turn over a rookie quarterback like they're supposed to and take advantage of that. And you were able to take advantage of that as well on the back end.
And everydayers, let us know what your biggest takeaways are from game one. Were you guys sold that, hey, the Falcons, they've got a squad? Was it good on offense for you? Good on defense? What concerns might you have? Definitely let us know. You always do. So we appreciate it. And don't forget, of course, to download ATL Day Ones wherever you get your podcasts.
But this is For the Culture. This intersection between sports, entertainment, the culture, and sometimes whatever the hell we want to talk about, because it's just how we get down on the show today. It's no different. When you think about like Quavo and what he's been able to do with, the group Migos and the fortunate passing of his cousin, his name escapes me right now. Takeoff, yes. So Takeoff, passing away, but when you think about what he's been able to do, just be able to represent where he came from, in Gwinnett County, they put the North on the map when they came out and, putting all those albums and everything like that. But what people don't know is, like, he was actually born in Athens. And now, he's headed back home. He said he's going to enroll at the University of Georgia, and he's going to be on campus. Like, imagine the possibilities. I know all the party promoters down there in Athens right now. They are hitting his line. They're like, hey, man, I need you to perform here. Right. People are just lining up. But, yeah, how cool is that for him to say, you know what, I'm going to go back to school, and I'm gonna go represent my school that in the same town that I was born in.
Well, selfishly, I would have been more excited if he had said Morehouse, but moving right along, or Clark Atlanta, but moving right along, we'll accept UGA. We'll accept UGA because like Lil Wayne, who enrolled in the University of Houston, like Megan Thee Stallion, who enrolled in an HBCU and got her degree from Texas Southern University. I love that he is following suit and saying, hey, there are layers to me, and I want to explore those layers. And of course, you have Bun B, who's out here teaching college courses. So yeah, I love when I hear something like this because it reminds you. Yeah, it reminds you, or even David Banner back in the day went to Southern, and I think David Banner might have a master's. So yeah, Quavo, congrats to you for just trying to up your game in a different way and making sure that you're able to, once the rap game wraps up for you, that you're able to move on to something else or have a better business mind while you're actually in the throes of your rap career. So congrats, man.
Yeah, congratulations to him. Now, T, before we get out of here, we have to talk about this story because, it can get a little dicey. So, there was a young lady by the name of Paula Penn that won $75,000, on a lottery ticket, right? But she nearly lost out on it, T, because she almost gifted the winning ticket to her ex-father-in-law. Notice I said ex-father-in-law. So, can you kind of give me a picture into how a young Tenitra Batiste would have tried to ask for that ticket back if you were in that situation, T?
I was thinking the same thing. Like, how would I get it?
Right.
You know what? I don't know if I would ask for it back. I might be like, well, no, you know what? Maybe I'd be
$75,000?
Maybe no. But
It ain't life-changing money, but it's a nice little start.
it's a game changer, yeah.
Yeah.
But I probably no. I would have asked for the ticket back, but I'm just saying I'm trying to figure out does she have? And my mind is going further. Does she have a legal, or does he have a legal case against her to say, hey, she owes me some of that money because I did have that ticket in hand first? That's where my mind went.
Right.
Oh man, I wonder if it's just over, if she's just going to keep the 75 grand, or is the ex-father-in-law and the ex-husband in the background, are they going to be petty and try to go after her? That's what I thought about.
Well, she did say that, the father-in-law is going to get a kick out of it, when he hears how all of this went down. But so, it's just kind of like, I hope she knows her ex-father-in-law very well.
Right, because I'm like, just a kick, that's all he's going to get out of it. We'll see. Jarvis and I will be following this story. We will see, and we will bring you all the deets. If and when this happens, that he's just going to chuckle and keep it moving. Because who knows if it was a contentious breakup between his son and her. Like I said, folks get petty. And they can find a way, if he can find a way to make sure he gets the money back in his hands. I just think that's exactly what he's going to do. But hey, we'll see. Like I said, we will keep you guys posted and come back tomorrow because we will do a deep dive into the defense. We know that Arthur Smith has now had a chance to look at the tape, so he's going to have some deeper and more specific reactions today of what went down Sunday. So we'll bring that to you tomorrow for the Falcons. And of course, we hope to bring you 2 W's to talk about from the Braves because it is a doubleheader today. We know for sure Charlie Morton is on the mound for game 1 and Snit's got something up his sleeves for game 2. So don't forget, any and all and every sports story you want, you got it right here on ATL Day Ones.
And guys, if you don't do anything else with your life, and girls as well, make sure you share love, show love, and most importantly, spread love on a good old Victory Monday.